Hi, everyone. My name is Patricia, and I'm a Next Niagara Council member. Welcome to the Crush It with Personal Branding session. And I'm very excited to introduce our next guest speaker, Fabio Marrama. Fabio is one of Southern Ontario's top business and marketing professionals. He's an engaging speaker and has built one of the most highly engaged personal brands on LinkedIn. He's a top 40 under 40 Business Achievement Award winner, video content creator with more than 10 million views and a community of thousands of entrepreneurs and professionals on the platform. And he has been mentioned in top publications like Forbes and Social Media Examiner, has guest appeared on multiple top 100 podcasts on iTunes, and is endorsed by global influencers like Jay Shetty. Fabio is the Director of Product Innovation at Meridian Credit Union, founder of Expert Altitude, a proud husband and father, and a passionate leader of the cooperative movement in Canada. So without further ado, I'll pass it off to Fabio.
Thank you so much, Patricia. I always love those introductions. They're very awkward as you stand there, but I love them. So thank you so much, Patricia. This is it's fantastic to be here to share about personal branding. So I'll share my screen. We'll get things rocking and rolling here. All right. Well, it looks like we have 24 participants, I think, or so. So this is great. Whoever's here, it's fantastic to have you as part of this session. I'm thrilled. It's one of my favorite topics. I love talking about it because it means so much to me because it's affected my career, my business in so many different ways. And so today, I'm really going to help you understand and unpack personal branding a bit and hopefully be a little bit more tactical with it. So today we're going to talk about how to start and scale and absolutely crush your personal brand using LinkedIn. So I love using LinkedIn because I think it's one of the most powerful platforms in the world. So we will talk about that today. So what in the world is a personal brand? I mean, this is a term that I feel like, especially in 2021, the world is talking so much about this. You probably see this on social media. You see different personalities, different people, depending on what industry that you're in. It could be health and fitness or business and marketing, finance, you name it. But personal branding is sort of this concept or this terminology that's continuing to grow each and every single year and gain a little bit more steam. And I think this is a great opportunity, especially right now in a digital world, post-pandemic world, to understand what that personal brand could look like for you and why it's also so important. So what in the world is a personal brand? I'll give a few examples in terms of what some of these well-known people say. So Jeff Bezos says that your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And I love that because it's so true. Like your personal brand is simply just not your presence on social media. It's not just your presence just at work. It's in so many different areas. It's how people perceive you, what your customers perceive you as, what your colleagues perceive you as, what your friends perceive you as. That is your personal brand in so many different ways, what the community sees you as. And so I love that quote, what people say about you when you're not in the room. Gary Vaynerchuk, obviously very well known in the personal branding space, says this. It's important to build a personal brand because it's really the only thing that you're going to have. Your reputation online and in the business world is pretty much the game. So you've got to be a good person. You can't hide anything. And more importantly, you've got to be out there at some level. And I don't know what your level of involvement is on social media or, how involved you are into your personal brand. And so that's what I'm looking forward to unpacking today to get a little bit of understanding of that too. Tim Ferriss, he's the author of the 4-Hour Work Week. Maybe you've heard of him. He says personal branding is about managing your name. Even if you don't own a business, in a world of misinformation, disinformation, and semi-permanent Google records, going on a date, chances are that blind date has Googled your name. Going to a job interview, ditto. I couldn't agree more with him. It doesn't matter who I meet, in person or not. Going into a meeting or something, I'm almost always Googling that person's name. What can I find? There's so much information. You can find so much about somebody where you can connect with them. It gives you an opportunity to build rapport, build a relationship in ways that you never were able to do 20 years ago. So that's what's amazing about it. And then really from a definition perspective, personal branding is the practice of an individual marketing themselves and their careers as brands. It is essentially the ongoing process of establishing a prescribed image or impression in the mind of others about an individual, group, or organization. And so what I love about personal branding is we know so much about branding, company branding, logos. We see these logos like these flash across our screens and our credit cards on the daily or the weekly. For me, Amazon, probably. My wife loves Amazon too, so she's a frequent shopper. But when you think about these companies, you look at these logos, especially these iconic logos, just a couple of them. What first kind of comes to mind? A lot of times people associate these brands or these logos with individual people, and they have for so long. So, when you think of Facebook, you think of Mark Zuckerberg, right? Like, so prominently displayed as the face of Facebook from a personal perspective. Secondly, Amazon, you think of Jeff Bezos, right? How can you not? One of the richest person in the world. How can you not think of Steve Jobs when you see the Apple logo? People associate the human being or the personal brand behind the company as well. Often, even the late great inventor or late great entrepreneur as well. And then lastly, Microsoft. You see Bill Gates. And these are just 4 small examples, but you could think of the world of television and media, and you'll probably see this person a lot, right? Someone who's built a personal brand around, interviewing people and just collaboration of different thoughts, a talk show. And, it's amazing to see how people build their brands, whether it be logos, whether it be in specific industries, and associating industries or people and companies tied directly to that brand. So that's one thing I want us to think about today is it doesn't matter what company you work for. It doesn't matter if you own a business or you currently have a job or a career. Think about it this way. For me at Meridian, I'm a representation of Meridian as well. I have a business. I'm also a representation of the industry that I support. You are the voice of also that organization, but you also have your own voice. You have a strong reflection on both being a positive influence on the organization that you're a part of, or being a positive influence for whatever that passionate thing that you want to be known for. And so today, I'm gonna take on a little journey as to like why LinkedIn's really, really important. So today I'm really going to show you how to start, scale, and really crush your personal brand without spending hours of time, hundreds of dollars, or being on dozens of platforms, because we all don't have time for that. So let's dive into that. And I'm going to teach you everything about, instead of having dozens of platforms, just using LinkedIn, because it's probably one of the most powerful platforms on the planet right now that I'm a huge believer in. And I think so many people are underutilizing. It's essentially opened an insane amount of doors for me over the last 3 years just by being involved. So, all right, you ready? Let's dive right in. So my name is Fabio. No, that's not me, but I mean, the hair, everything is quite remarkable. You've probably seen this guy before. This is the model Fabio, or you've probably seen him on the Old Spice commercials. Yeah, that's not me. This is me. My name is Fabio Marrama. I'm the Director of Product Innovation at Meridian. I've been at Meridian for the last almost 2 years, just over 2 years now. And I built, one of the most engaged LinkedIn communities. I'm really proud to have such a strong community of people there, of entrepreneurs, of marketers, surrounding topics that I love and care about. And then thirdly, I've reached more than 10 million people in the last 3 years without spending a single dollar on any paid advertising at all, just through fostering relationships, building a strong community, and creating consistency around that. Number 4 is, I've been privileged to have a top 40 under 40 business achievement award, which is amazing. I've been a guest on top 100 podcasts. I've been mentioned in some top publications and endorsed by some pretty sweet influencers like the co-founder of Forbes.com, business leaders like Dan Locke in Vancouver, and also Jay Shetty, who's one of the most viewed people on the internet. Maybe you've seen 1, 2, or 10 of his videos. See, I always wanted to use social media, and you probably are sitting here too. You're like, yeah, I use it. I scroll my feed and stuff, but I'm not gonna, instead of being a consumer of social media, I really wanted to be a creator. use it to have my own voice, find a way that I can build something for myself so that I can create leverage for my career, for business, you name it, open doors for myself. I really wanted to use social media to grow my personal brand and business. I could really never seem to make it work though. I mean, I felt like all these gurus out there, they were telling me and probably telling you that you have to be on every single social media platform. You got to be, posting 52 pieces of content per day, and you got to have a podcast. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to post to YouTube. And I was just completely overwhelmed, right? I was just feeling completely overwhelmed, having to start or try to keep up with all these platforms. It was tough, and I had no idea what the heck to even talk about. Like, one of the things that was in my head was, why would anybody care about what I have to say? And maybe that's you right now. All I wanted though was just one channel, just one channel that could work for me. That's it. Not 28, not 14, just one. And that was something that I'd be happy with. So I started to ask myself, okay, what is my best shot at being here? What are people's best shot at being heard in their career today? It's super noisy right now in the marketplace on Instagram and Facebook. There's a lot of noisy platforms. And so I really looked at the concept of the I read a book called The Blue Ocean Strategy. And this really hit home to me in terms of how can you leverage personal branding and think about it from a blue ocean strategy perspective. So I thought about, okay, red ocean means that it could be in business and you're looking at launching a new product. It could be anything. But let's say for this example, I'm thinking of social media. The oceans are red. The sharks have devoured it already. There's not a lot of fishing there. You stick your rod in the water and nothing. And that's just the noisy platforms. That could be Instagram, that could be Facebook, that could be a lot of those platforms you see these days that are just, you're like, it's so hard to break through. Every time I post something, I get like 5 views. Nobody seems to care. And there's just so many other people that I'm trying to compete with. And that's true. So I thought, what about the blue oceans? Where are there blue oceans of opportunity that my voice can be heard in a better way, where I can put in, time and effort and get a better return on my time? And LinkedIn was that platform for me. So you put your rod in the water and, something great happens, a new connection, an opportunity, a new door that opens, a job opportunity, you name it, a business opportunity. And I thought every piece of time, every amount of time I spent on this platform, the more I got out of it, which really led me to believe that this was a blue ocean that not a lot of people were really using. And that's why I'm so passionate about talking about LinkedIn. And so here's one of the biggest reasons I am extremely bullish on LinkedIn. So there are 700 million users on LinkedIn. So by no means, you probably have an account right now, but by no means is LinkedIn a new platform. However, in 2016, Microsoft purchased them, and for a lot of money, 26 times more money than Google purchased YouTube for, and just over 26 times more money than Instagram was purchased by Facebook for. So I saw, okay, 700 million users, and of those 700 million, there are 300 million active users, which means they log in once a month. And so out of those 300 million active users, I want you to go ahead and use the chat. So use the chat function. How many people do you think create content? I'm talking like this isn't like you have all these YouTube channels or anything, like people are posting videos every day. I'm talking you share a Forbes article that was interesting to you. You shared a networking event you're attending or something like that. Like just basic. Go in the chat if there's anyone that wants to share. What do you think? What number would you say are people that actually create content every single week on the platform? So go ahead and type that in. What you think? What number do you think? So I see a few. I see 5%. I see 5 million. I see 100,000, 3 million, 2 million, 1 million, 10 million. Okay. I also see platform overwhelm is so real. This is resonating. That's awesome. 850,000, 20 million. Okay. This is good. This is good. Awesome. Love it. Okay. So the number is actually 3 million people create content weekly, which is actually 1% 1% of people create content weekly on LinkedIn. And here's the kicker. This doesn't even mean it's good. This just means they're just posting stuff. Maybe nobody even engages with it at all. Just 3 million people post content weekly, and that doesn't even mean it's good. And so here's the interesting part. I went to LinkedIn headquarters about a year and a half ago, just before the pandemic, and I got a tour of the headquarters in Toronto, and they invited me there because I was a frequent creator on the platform. And I met with one of their directors, and we were chatting. And as we were walking around, I said, I saw an interesting stat. I think at the time it was 620 million users or something. I said, I saw an interesting stat that, just about 1% of people on LinkedIn post content. And that's about 3 million people, weekly. And I said, there's 300 million active users on the platform. I said, I very rarely see people posting videos and strongly, good, engaging content. I would say it's probably 1% of that 1% creating consistent content, generating a strong community of people, building their personal brands in their niche, whatever that is: real estate, finance, commercial real estate, marketing, sales, human resources, whatever that is. I said, it's probably 1% of 1%, which is about 30,000 people. I told him, what do you think about that? He said, I think that's shooting a little high. And that was the moment I knew there was a huge amount of opportunity here, because LinkedIn was never notoriously used as a content creation platform. It was a resume platform until they realized, when Microsoft purchased them, that they wanted to be the social media platform for business, for jobs, or for your career. And it wasn't just about uploading your online resume. It was truly about sharing things are going to benefit other people through content about the things that you do for a living, or the things that you care about. And that's why I believe that personal branding was such an important platform for me. That's when I dove really head in and continue to double down on it. So I can't say enough the opportunities here. There are 9 billion content impressions in the LinkedIn feed every single week, and over 500 billion per year, gobbled up by only 3 million people. So if there's ever a time to jump on the platform, it's now. LinkedIn called just about a year ago or so and need to add more people to create content. They want to build engagement, and they probably want to start monetizing it with ads and stuff. And they haven't got there yet. They're not like Facebook. So they're trying to reward new users, new people trying to create content around the things that they care about, the things in their space. And I'm not talking, political and all these other things. I'm talking about the things that you're doing in your career. Maybe you're in sales and you just want to talk about some of the best sales tips because you know that there's some things you want to teach people. Maybe you're in the finance space and there's nobody else talking about really, very important things about, the economy that we're certainly in right now, and how families can benefit from, or people can benefit from, saving more money or budgeting. I don't know, whatever that is. Or maybe you're passionate about marketing and branding, and you want to talk about the things that have changed in the world post-pandemic. Go ahead and do that. So it's really gobbled up by 3 million people. That's why there's a huge opportunity. And like I said, that doesn't even mean it's good. So I really realized that you need to leverage underpriced attention when you have it. And when you can do that, you have a lot more opportunity. You stand a better opportunity to be noticed in the marketplace. You see, it was clear to me business owners today, they were not capitalizing on one of the fastest growing social media platforms in the world. So I dove right into LinkedIn. I did a lot of things wrong. And like most people, this was me. I was at the start just shooting blindly at a dartboard, not knowing what to do, seeing what could stick. And you learn a lot from that. And I also did a lot of things right, and by learning from those, that really comes from spending hundreds of hours on the platform, especially over a year. You get to understand what doesn't work and also what does work. So LinkedIn really became a powerful source of traffic, career leverage, and industry influence. And it can be the same for you. And what I want to reiterate is I started from nothing. When I started on LinkedIn, I probably had 500 colleagues that I was connected to, and have now had the privilege of building an almost 30,000, a community of about 30,000 people, and really engaged, strong people, and can leverage content to drive people to my profile in the thousands, invitations from decision makers, from lots of key clients, potentially recruiters, you name it. Like the doors of opportunity have been opened in so many ways. By using content through video uh, about the things that I care about, able to reach hundreds of thousands of people. There's no question that you could do the same thing. People want to hear what you have to say, and they're just waiting for somebody to talk about that. And sometimes it means getting out of your own head. So this has allowed me to open tons of doors by generating thousands and thousands of people. I was able to put it into perspective and think, for every 18,000 video of 18,000 people watching, I was able to, really put that into perspective. That's the size of the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, as if I was speaking there, but I'm only doing it on a digital platform. And when I started to realize that, I started to realize you can have an impact on a lot of people when you can do that. And that's why it's beautiful when you can do it digitally. And through that, been able to help other people as well. People like Pyle, who is in the fintech and financial crime and compliance space, random space, and not a lot of talk about it, and build a brand around it. Or David, he's from Toronto as well, in the commercial real estate space, putting himself out there, especially being super afraid at the start, and building a personal brand for himself, doing it. And then you can see the red box there, just having a recent conversation with him 2 weeks ago, landing $1 million deals for his company, and saying, essentially LinkedIn has allowed me to become a recognized global thought leader in my space. He said, I've become the content guy in my whole industry. Nobody is talking about commercial real estate here like I am, and home and office space and rentals. He says, you helped me get there. And I thought, you can do the same thing, whatever that is that you're passionate about. If it, like I said, sales, human resources, leadership, you just got to have the belief that you can do it. And I know people here listening have the belief that what they have to say has value. Now you need to share that with the world. So now that you know it works, here are some key steps, and some of the steps that you need to take. So your personal brand, there's really 4 areas. So there's actions, abilities, values, and beliefs. So actions, what have you done in the past that could affect your brand positively or negatively? Have you ever done something where people are like, wow, this was so valuable. Thank you. You've done a presentation, or you've done something in your career, maybe, or your community that's had such a positive impact that a few people had value from, but how could you take that from a few people to a few hundred people or a few thousand people? So think about the actions that you've had a positive impact on some people's lives, but also negatively, right? Like your actions can negatively affect your personal brand as well. Abilities. So what is your skill set? So what can you teach people? What is your skill set? Have you ever had someone tell you, you're really good at that, or you should teach people, or is it a skill set in your career that people come to you all the time for something like this because you're the only one that knows how to do it, or do it really well? You're one of the best people in your city at doing said skill. And if that's the case, that's great. You need to be sharing that. You need to be talking about those types of things, because if someone can find value in your immediate circle, you can bet there's people around the world that can find value from it. Values. What is important to you? Because so much of your personal brand is attached to your values as well. How authentic you are, how transparent you are. Can you share your story? And talking about what's important to you. Those are very important things too. It's not just about a career topic as well. People want to know you. That's why people get attached to personal brands, because they love people. I like to say it's, LinkedIn's not a B2B platform, it's an H to H platform. It's not business to business, it's human to human. And it's becoming more and more of that. Fourthly, beliefs. What is it that you believe to be true based on your past experiences? And if there's something you believe to be true, like, hey, you know what, I can actually make a difference, based on those past experiences, or you know what, I have made a difference on people's lives. Those beliefs will transition into that personal brand as well in a powerful way. Your brand really tells your audience 4 things: who you are, and that's through just content, people getting to know your story. A little bit of my story, just sharing this right now. What you do, how can you help me, and what makes you different. So what you do in terms of how you help, what's your skill set, what do you do for your career, or what do you do for your business, Or maybe you're in school and you're like, what do I want to do? Or do I love doing that I can start talking about? That's another one. And then how can you help me? People think about this, your audience tells you four things. They're always thinking in their minds, how can you help me? If it's always what's in it for me. So you got to think of on the flip side, instead of yourself, think about the other person and think, how is this person going to benefit on the words that I have to say or what I can teach them or educate them on? And because if you continue to provide value to that specific person, showcasing how you can help them, they're going to keep coming back because they're always going to need more help. And then lastly, what makes you different? There's certain people where there's different industries where there's just a dime a dozen, and there's nothing that makes you stand out. There's nothing that makes you unique and different. I like to say to some people, like, if you have a brand anchor, which I call, like, maybe it's a cool hat, or you have purple hair or something, you could absolutely stand out. People will recognize you just from appearance wise online, and that's a very common thing, is using brand anchors as a personal brand to get people to recognize you. Maybe you see people with specific shirts on. There's a gentleman, a guy, a creator named Nos Daily. Maybe you've seen some of the stuff. It's got like a batter or a loading, a shirt that has like a loading bar on it. Wears it every single day in every single video. Maybe he has 1,000 of those shirts. I don't know. But those are little brand anchors that you can use to get people to remember you, but also through your words to determine what makes you different so they can continue to show up. So why is it important? Well, really, it depends. Wherever you are in your journey right now, maybe you're in business, you're starting a business, or you want to do something on the side. Maybe you want to grow in your career. Maybe you want to land a job or get a better job than you currently have. There's all different reasons why you might be able to build a personal brand. So it might be different from one person to another, but a few of them are, increasing your earning potential. And that could be with, a career. I was actually able to land this role at Meridian because of this director role, because of the content that I was creating. I don't know if any of you know Wade Stazer, but Wade, it's not the only thing, but he had said, "Oh, I've been seeing some of the stuff you have been posting on LinkedIn." We had a conversation, led to a phone call, and said, "Hey, there's a great role coming up. I think you'd be perfect for." And made a transition from previous organization over to Meridian, and the same has gone with earning potential for my business and growth on the side as well. Continuing to grow that exponentially. And that could be for you. Maybe you're passionate about, wine. I have a colleague, Nick, who's passionate about wine and has turned that into a business on the side as well by doing tastings and things like that. Now, COVID has changed that, but using a personal brand online, doing the same thing, was able to leverage his expertise and love for the world of wine, as he is a sommelier, and turn that into extra earning potential. And that's what personal branding is great for. It's also good for a leadership role if you want to get people to see you more as an authority in your space, as a leader, because you're talking about things that no one else is talking about. How powerful is it if you want to get heard by an organization, some people within your organization, and you're thinking, I just can't get heard. How powerful is it going to be if you go add the executives, the leaders within that organization? Maybe there's an organization you're part of that's got 2,000 people, and you just can't seem to get in front of them. Well, why not add them on LinkedIn? Why not genuinely add them with a connection request? And if you're the only one creating content and video, and likely no one in their feed is, because you saw the numbers, you're going to show up at the top of the feed every single time they open their phone about things that are relevant to the organization or that industry. I can tell you that's going to exponentially give you awareness on, this person's going to stand out, and you're going to stand out to that person, and you're going to be seen more as a leader, and it's going to give you tons of opportunity wherever you currently are. Thirdly, greater recognition. That could be with speaking engagements, podcast invites, you name it. You can get recognition from awards, even things like that, that can allow you to propel your career forward in a more powerful way. Fourthly, enhanced prestige. Again, just gives you more chances to showcase yourself as an authority in your space. And then lastly is top of mind status. So when people think about, that expert in finance, or that expert in real estate, or that expert in banking, or marketing, or whatever that may be, they're going to think of you first, because they're going to continue seeing you show up. And so that's what top of mind is helpful for as well. How is it used? Well, to introduce yourself verbally, visually, and in writing. Number two, to develop an aura about what you do and how you do it. It's then used to demonstrate to others your beliefs, your values, and your abilities. And number four, to change or clarify people's perception of you. Because sometimes, videos, content, writing can do that. People get to know a little bit more about you and can, clarify or change people's perception about you in a positive way. And then number five is to influence others. I think at the end of the day, everybody has something that they're in it for. Anytime I talk to somebody, I'm like, why do you want to build a personal brand? And they're like, I want to impact people. And that's great. You definitely want to impact people. But I said, why else? There's always something. Do you want to, do you want to get a better job? Are you trying to maybe, land some clients for your business? Like, what are you trying to do outside of just have impact? That's definitely one. But I like to say that there's definitely a lot of other benefits or underlying benefits that come with building a personal brand. And so we talked about that last point, influence. This is a really key word because it's essentially what really happens when you build a personal brand is you start creating influence in a specific space. And I'm not talking through the millions, because maybe it's not millions. It could be a few thousand people. And that's all you need to make amazing growth steps in your career or your business or for your brand. But really, influence is the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something. Another thing is you don't just get given influence. You have to build it. You have to foster it, and you have to grow it. And it takes time. I don't love the term influencer. Sometimes people call me that, and I just can't stand it because I'm like, I'm not an influencer. My goal is like, if I can just create things that are going to bring value to people, that's how you create influence, through value. Not because, of people calling me something like that, or me calling somebody else something like that. How do people build influence? It's through continuously putting value out in the marketplace. And the one way I like to say is, how do you build influence? Well, it can take time. So I want to give you an example of one of the strongest examples I've ever heard of a person, how to build a personal brand, and how it can take off. So this is a picture of the Chinese bamboo tree. Maybe you've heard this analogy, the Chinese bamboo tree. When you plant its seed, it actually grows underground for 5 years. 5 years. Now, I don't know about you. I'm a gardener. My wife loves gardening too. If she said, hey, here's a tomato seed, we'll put this in the ground and it'll grow for 5 years before something happens. I'd be like, okay, pass. But think about this, for example. The Chinese bamboo tree grows underground for 5 years, but once it surfaces after 5 years, it grows 90 feet in the first 6 weeks. That's incredible. 6 weeks is just over a month, and this tree grows 90 feet, like you see here, like you see in this picture, which really is a perfect example of a personal brand. You're not going to reap rewards right away. You're going to be like, probably after even 4 or 5, 6 months. First of all, you got to love doing it too, because you have a passion to do it. But after 4 or 5, 6 months, you might get incremental pieces of value back. You're like, wow, this is some open doors and things like that. But where you'll really see, and I'm not going to say it's going to take 5 years, it could take 2 years, it could take 18 months. But through that consistency, you may find there's going to come a point after 18, 24, 36 months that the floodgates open and opportunities just come pouring in because of the consistency that you created. You're just building, compounding personal brand interest in the bank, and then opportunities just flood your way. And sometimes that just happens. That's Chinese bamboo tree is an example of the people that have the win in personal branding are the ones that are doing it consistently. And so we think about influence as sort of the end goal. We got to build know, like, and trust. So in order to attain influence, you got to build trust, get people to trust you. In order to get people to trust you, you got to get people to like you. In order to get people to like you, you got to get people to know you, which means you got to create attention, which means you got to be online, or else not as many people can know you aside from your small center of influence. And how to build know, like, and trust? Well, there's really 4 words: character, affinity, authority, and action. I like to say character is know. Get people to know you by who you are, your character, and being online and being present. Like, in terms of your affinity, get people to relate to you and believe in what you have to say. Trust builds authority as well. So once you get to that point of continuously putting out content, things like that, people build trust. And then the result is action. So step one, in terms of how to build this, first of all, you need to replace a scarce mindset with an abundance mindset. I don't know how many people I've started talking to about this in terms of personal branding, and they're like, you know what if people don't care about what I have to say? Like, why me? Why would they even listen to me? Like, I haven't done anything. I haven't built anything. Well, then you're just going to stay where you are. Like, where did everybody else start? They started from zero, right? You don't have to be in a career for 30 years to be able to talk about something because you're good at it. Well, no. So, you need to replace that and think about, well, what if people care about what I have to say? And don't think about what will my boss think? Will I get fired if I talk about things that I care about? Well, you are you. You are your own individual person. You are not what just your job is or your career. You have passions, you have beliefs, you have things that you love to talk about. But absolutely, if you think about it for your career, you could say, well, will my boss think in a positive way, right? Maybe I'll get a promotion. Think about it that way. And then lastly, I'm scared of what people will think of me. And this is going to happen regardless. There's the fear of success and there's a fear of failure. And both are present. They happen. What will people think of me? What will my friends and family think of me? Like, why are you posting videos? Why are you posting content? Why are you writing? You don't have to be doing that. But just, think about, like, what will people actually think of me in a positive way? Could I be affecting and positively impacting the lives of other people? And then step two, you need to identify what it is that you want to be known for. Okay. So understand what your end goal is and understand what you want to be known for. So pick that niche. Is that, in whatever your career is it something for business? Is it a specific industry? Or wherever you want to get to? If your goal is to, you want to land a specific job, well, who are the types of people you need to add and what's the type of content you need to be posting about? So understand that first, and then optimize your profile for that. Okay. So for example, if you're on LinkedIn, you need to, I can't stress this enough, you need to have a professional headshot. Full photo, full face, not body, because when you're commenting and stuff, people won't be able to see it in the little photo when they're commenting. In your cover photo, you need to be having a large cover photo, potentially that strikes authority in your audience by speaking or on stage or getting an award or something, or you're pictured with a celebrity, or even just talking about ways that you can help people on. I help people with. Don't put like a city of Toronto skyline or like vineyards or something. That's not going to do anything for your personal brand, and it doesn't say anything about you. And then lastly, your description and your headline says a lot about you. Like, what are people going to, this is what they first see when they come to your profile. And it shouldn't just be your job title. It shouldn't be like, I'm director of this, or I'm like manager of this, or like, partnerships coordinator, or program manager. No, it shouldn't just be that, because obviously you're not just that as you as a person. To build a brand, you need to talk about things. What do you want to talk about? Or how do you help people? I talk about marketing and branding. I have my own personal hashtag called StayFab. I use that on purpose so that people can associate a hashtag with, my personal brand as well when they see content or what have you. And it's also play on words. So think about those types of things of how you want to be known for, and portray that in your profile. Step three, you need to identify who it is that you serve, and then you need to find them. So I wouldn't be adding everybody and anyone. If you serve, let's say you want to talk about people in the marketing space, like in marketing and branding is your thing. Like, I wouldn't be adding accountants and finance folks and maybe IT professionals. Like, that's not the people that will care about your content. So it shouldn't just be a numbers game. It should be who is actually going to get that value from your content. Everybody gets a maximum of 30,000 connections on LinkedIn. You get unlimited followers, but 30,000 connections. Then you max out that. You can't add more than that. So when you're adding people and you're becoming a first degree connection, that is the most quality thing that you can focus on building your personal brand, because you're going to build the right tribe of people that will care about your message as well. How you build your community and who you build it with will ultimately make or break your success on LinkedIn and your brand. the best networks are active, targeted, and influential. And I like to say active and targeted is probably the most important, simply because, active being, are they even on the platform? And targeted being, who do they serve? Or do I serve this person? Will they care about what I have to say? So let me show you why an active network is the most important. And this is people that log in once a month. So let's say this represents your 1,000 connections that you have right now. Maybe it's 500. This represents your 1,000 connections you currently have on LinkedIn, and you're like, I don't know, I'll start posting content. Well, if you don't start adding people that are active, which you can see in their profile based off of going to their content, you can see if their activity, if they've posted in the last year, based on their comments or their posts, if they posted in the last year, or if they've commented on stuff. So if this is 1,000 people, and not many people of your connections are actually active or on LinkedIn, and you post a piece of content out, written video, this is how many people might actually see it. Now that's not great, but how do you get that to have? How do you get more people to see it? When you can start adding active connections, people that are actually on the platform and engaging through comments, things like that, you're going to post something, and this many people will see it. It's not often everybody's online at the same time, but when you get more people seeing it, more people are going to, especially with LinkedIn, first degree, as soon as they like or comment on something, it's going to go to a second degree network. So you're spider webbing to more and more people by having more active users, and active users are connected to active users too. So that's really powerful for you as well when you think about who to add. Targeted means nothing if your connections aren't there at all. So aim for both. And when you're using LinkedIn, as a quick example, you need to go to find people. You need to do a quick search. Find people, go to the people, go to all filters, and do a quick search on who you want to serve. Is it a specific job title? Is it an executive? Is it a recruiter? Whatever, right? So go to job title. Add that in, and maybe that's chief executive officer. Okay, so maybe it's chief executive officer. You search their title, English, let's say, and you can search by location as well, which is very powerful, by industry, by current company or past company. If you want to search a specific person at a company, marketing and advertising, I'm going to use as an example here, just simply because it's a space they love. But you can see all the different industries: food and beverage, finance, graphic design, e-learning, there's computer programming. There's so many industries that you can find the right people in. And then you could search obviously by location as well, which is going to help bring the right people. If you're looking for Canada, maybe you're looking for global as well. I have a global audience. You'll find people, just a few people here, right? So boom, these are just these are some connections that I just through a random search. I'll go to all filters again, and I'll actually search second degree, which you can find some people that are in your second degree network as well, and find people as well, chief executive officers in Toronto, and you can expand that wording as well to find more and more people. That's how you start adding people. Then once you find the right person, you need to send them a personalized invite. So how do you show up genuinely to that person? Sending them a personalized invite with every connection request. So connect with them, send a personalized invite. Hey, John, just wanted to say, I noticed a piece of content you posted a week ago, that was 5 ways personal branding can help, people with jobs in 2021. I thought it was fabulous. Keep up the amazing work. Hey, love to connect. Genuine, warm, and inviting. Make it specific, not just hey, I'd like to add you to my network. Not good. So keep adding more and more people like that. You're going to find amazing ways to connect with really cool people. Next is step 4A. I like to say you need to serve your audience with content and engage your network. Got to serve them with content. I like to say document versus create. People are always like, oh, what type of content am I going to create? Well, maybe you have to just document your life journey right now. Hey, 5 things I learned today, about marketing, or 5 things I learned in my career. Hey, I had an epiphany today, and I want to share it with you guys. Talk about those things. You don't have to just be I have to educate people and create content, right? Talk about the things that you can just document about your daily life that creates consistency for you. And if you're creating something, I learned this from Jay Shetty in a conversation with him. He said, you need to create content to build a personal brand around 4 things. Content that's educational. Can you teach somebody something that's informative, where you can inform them on a change in their industry, something that's inspirational, and then something that's entertaining. And can you combine entertaining with either of those first 3? You got a winning formula. there's really a few areas that you can post on LinkedIn. There's short form, there's photos, there's documents, there's long form published articles, there's native and live videos as well. Short form posts are punchy, simple to write, easy, but they can also flop. But when done well, they can get a lot of reach. Photos are probably the worst engagement, but you can create a good story around that, and it hits more of your second or third degree. Documents are a great way to show expertise by uploading a PDF or something that you maybe wrote about. They can highlight something that's educational based. Long form published articles. If you love writing and you like blogging, that's another way you can write articles. And then native and live video, again, a strong way to show up to get people to recognize your face and share good content that way as well. Step 4B is you need to leverage larger voices. So podcasts, interviews with people. You need to go add a lot of podcasters on LinkedIn and maybe start your own interview. Be like, hey, I'd love to interview through Zoom on LinkedIn and create a piece of content around X industry, and go share that and then tag them and get them to share it. Like, that's how you get larger voices to collab with you through content collaborations, interviews. It's going to help you to boost your brand and attach yourself to their network as well. And then media personalities. I'll go to Forbes articles, any articles where people are talking about, this stuff in my space, personal branding, marketing, and I will add them. I'll go to that article because you can see it, it's public. You can see the author. I will go to that author and I will find them on LinkedIn and be like, hey, just read your article on this, this, and this. Second point you made was fantastic. Awesome to have you as part of my LinkedIn connections. Would love to add you here. I have so many media personalities on my profile, on my connection network, because I'm just simply doing that, and I'm adding them personally and sending really good quality warm invites with context. And then the last step 5 is you got to stay consistent. I can't say this enough. If you haven't started yet, you just got to start. Put one foot in front of the other every single day. Don't overwhelm yourself. Like, put like one piece of content out a week. Just start somewhere, right? And stay consistent, because those that are consistent are going to reap the best rewards from building their personal brand, because a personal brand is built over time. It's not built overnight. And the last point I'm going to make with regards to personal branding is this. It's a quote by William Arruda. He said, personal branding is not about you. It's about putting your stamp on the value that you deliver for others. When you can think about the other person in mind, and not just about yourself, you will, by definition, be building a strong personal brand because you're serving the right person with the right content, and you're serving them value, and they're going to want to show up every single day. So anyway, I hope that has really helped you unpack a high level view of how to crush your personal brand on LinkedIn, give you the motivation to start, and I look forward to seeing you on the platform. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Fabio. That was such a great presentation. I think it can definitely be intimidating sometimes thinking about how to develop your own personal brand. And so you really broke it down in a great way to give us, a great starting point and some actionable items of how to either develop or improve and enhance our own personal brand. I'm definitely going to be reflecting on some of the information that you shared and see how I can apply it for myself. I don't think we have any time for questions at the moment, but I did want to give you an opportunity to maybe share how others can connect with you so that they can continue this conversation or send over some questions after today.
Yeah, obviously LinkedIn, I wouldn't say otherwise. So send me a connection request on LinkedIn, but please, I got tons of them. So if you're sending me a connection request, send a personalized one. So, and say like, hey Fab, I watched your, presentation today. Hey, I have a question on this or whatever. That way I know that, out of the 500 people that are currently in my inbox, that these 15 or whoever wants to add and ask a question is from this specific Niagara conference. So yeah, please do send me a LinkedIn request, search Fabio Marrama on LinkedIn, and would love to answer any of your questions. I'm pretty good with that. I'd love to go back and forth, even if you want to get more contextual and tactical, like send me, once we are connected, ask a question in Messenger, we can go back and forth. I'd love to support and help you.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Fabio.
Thanks, Patricia.
So yeah, so everyone keep that in mind. And yeah, before we go, thanks so much to everyone for joining us for this session. We do have our social kickoff starting in about a minute in the networking room with Bobby Ray. And then we'll be heading right into our social hour after that. So hopefully everyone can join in, and it'll give you a chance to meet some of the other people that have attended the event today. So that's all we have to say. And again, really, really great presentation, Fabio. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Patricia. Take care, everyone.
Bye.